we're going to get started. So I like to introduce our topic of so you're a leader, now what? It is presented by Rachel Wong. And thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Rachel, whenever you are ready to go, you may start.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my session. So, your leader. Now what? Don't mind if I look down. I have a little script, so I'll be talking throughout. A little bit about me. I am a recent graduate of Purdue University. I graduated in 2024 with a Bachelor of Science in Marketing and Management. Also inducted into Mortarboard as the part of the Barbara Cook chapter in 2023, and I served as our vice president. Currently, I work in social media in sports for a sports team, so there's a lot of emojis, and that's why in this presentation. And I also serve as a Region 3 coordinator, and I'm also on the conference advisory board and the alumni engagement board within Mortarboard. But most importantly, I'm a recent college graduate, just over a year out, and I've been in your shoes not too long ago. Just like all of you, I've been through the successes, the struggles, the ups and downs of student leadership in early post-grad life. And because of this experience, I'm super excited to share what I've picked up along the way and the lessons I wish someone had told me when I first stepped into leadership. So I have a question for all of you to throw into the chat. What's a time when you felt like a leader? And I'll give you guys about like 30 seconds to 45 seconds to answer. I'll say for myself, I did not truly feel like a leader till I had received feedback on how I had positively impacted an organization and I made a big difference in my work. So that's really when I felt like a leader. Cool. Okay. So leadership is more than just a title. It's a mindset, it's the impact and the ability to make positive change in the areas around you. I personally love this quote from Maya Angelou, which says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So now that we've covered what leadership is and when you felt like one, we're going to tackle the now what. So essentially, you're a leader, now what? You've been tapped into mortarboard, you've earned a leadership position, you've been given important responsibilities, and have people looking up to you. What are you going to do about it? Our first now what, I have another question for all of you. It's okay if you can't answer in the chat, but just something to think about as well is what does it look like to live the mortarboard ideals of scholarship, leadership, and service where you are in your journey right now? My first now what is that you can implement the mortarboard ideals to the spaces you are in to further your empowerment and growth as a more impactful leader. This is a short list for each pillar I came up with, and I'll definitely zoom in on some of these now what's, but it's always good to take a step back and reflect on how the mortarboard ideals you are part of can be used to help others around you. Something I always like to ask myself is, am I leaving this space better than I found it? The second now what is that as a leader, you can be a mentor to others. So I call this the who, what, when, and where of mentoring. Who are those around you? So a little in your sorority, it could be your best friend's younger brother, an incoming student in your major. Your what is talking about adulting, talking about what it's like to be a senior in college or a junior, helping connect others with connections for your future job, and even tips and tricks if you're going off to grad school. Your when, someone told me this one day and I thought it was funny. You could do it today, tomorrow, or 2 days from now. And lastly, your where is anywhere you want to, or in the spaces you're in. So your classrooms, any cultural centers, any student organizations you're part of, you can really sort of implement and mentor within your groups. Okay. My next one is, as a leader, you can give back. So giving back is more than just monetary. It's your time, your talent, and your resources. A lot of the popular ones are civic organizations, so joining a chamber of commerce, a local library has a lot of them, religious centers, advocacy groups, professional organizations. I know that the Society of Women Engineers is a really big one, and I've heard a lot about them, so you could join that. The American Marketing Association, anything that you're really part of. Little plug for Mortarboard, but you could join Mortarboard as a way to give back too after everything you've done for your chapter. Community focus, so think the Red Cross, any food banks you have, local nonprofits, animal shelters, food banks, the YWCA, the YMCA, even college alumni groups. So, alumni groups within your city. I know a lot of colleges do those. Advisory boards, cultural networks. I know when I graduated from Purdue, I joined my school's Young Alumni Advisory Board, and that's been a good way to give back, meet with current students, and sort of implement my knowledge and what I've learned. And it's okay to start small. Small impacts can really grow into bigger influences. Okay. My next now what is that as a leader, you can exemplify the value of humility. So leadership is not just about being the loudest, wow, sorry. Leadership is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about influencing and uplifting others around you. So ways you can model humility in leadership would be prioritizing collaboration over control of others, giving credit generously. I know I always try to give compliments and shout people out when I can. Own your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. So if you realize you made one, just be honest, and it usually works out pretty well. Celebrate team wins, no matter the size. So make sure others around you feel uplifted, and then connect with others as people first, not just in your role and what you do in your placement in with them. And as Michael Scott once famously said, since there's an office theme going on, is that sometimes you have to take a break from being the kind of boss that's always trying to teach people things. Sometimes you have to be the boss of dancing. And I love that because it's really easy once you get a position. I remember when I was vice president of my org, it was really easy to silo myself and think of it as, oh, I have a committee I'm running, or oh, I have the executive board that I'm part of, and everyone else is just a member. But sometimes it's good to remember that you are also part of that and to just be a team player and be there for everyone. Okay, my fifth one. Okay, I hope you guys are all chronically online for this next reference. Um, if you guys don't recognize this, it's good, but there's a viral meme going around of this boy in Indonesia dancing on the boat of a racing canoe. And even funnily, more funny is that he's been dubbed the crazily the ultimate aura farmer. That's really weird to say out loud. But it's funny because it also says something deeper, is that people notice when you carry yourself with a certain energy. In an interview with the BBC, he said, I came up with the dance myself. It was just so spontaneous. And so essentially, I'd created something just because, and it was his swagger and presence that earned him virality. So it leads into my fifth now what is that as a leader, you can inspire others. Um, to add more onto that, I actually Googled a news article on this meme because I thought it was hilarious that news articles even wrote things about memes and try to explain stuff to a non-Gen Z audience. But I found this passage that aura farming is the act of deliberately or sometimes unconsciously projecting an aura, a mix of confidence, calm, charisma, and visual presence that makes someone appear effortlessly cool. I know that was pretty crazy. But I think it fits really well into our talk because he showed up authentically. He brought consistency, calm, and confidence while he was bouncing on the boat, and he literally led it into becoming a viral thing that I know like ESPN has posted about. It was just all over my feed. People re were reposting it, so I think that's a big deal. So, how can you guys inspire others in everything you do? Be consistent and reliable. So, show up fully, be present, give your best to everything, lead with respect. So, treat everyone with dignity, avoid ego or defensiveness. What you do, people will follow. And so it's important to remember that when you are a leader. And then leads into the next one of model the behavior you want to see. So, like I said, you are always setting an example, whether you realize it or not. Be intentional and help others grow around you. Okay, my next one is, can you guys think of other ways to inspire those around you, the workplace, the community, groups? Yeah, that's a good one. Community service to benefit others, leading by example, encouraging others. I love that. Thank you. Being disciplined when you don't feel like it. I like that too. So true. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Um, okay. My next now what is that as a leader, you can continue your curiosity and never stop seeking out ways to learn or grow. So you can be a leader without a title. It's your mindset and actions that form you into a strong leader well beyond college. I remember during my time at Purdue, I tried to constantly be curious and not silo myself into one thing. And during my sophomore year, I was interested in getting more involved in the university than I had already been. And it led me to an organization at Purdue known as Steps to Leaps, which was super young at the time. And through growing myself and wanting to just learn more, I ended up being selected as their first president of the organization, which was a huge sort of stepping stone for me. But if curiosity had not led me to learning about what else was on campus, I would not have really ever experienced that or gotten to really grow an organization from scratch. So that was pretty awesome. I'd say, in general, how to stay curious is to keep learning, never let roles define your limits, volunteer for the hard stuff, bring ideas to the table, even if it's not your job. I know even like the workplace, it's hard to speak up when you're in a big meeting and there's others around you, but it's never a big deal. And I think it's important to stay curious and ask questions, stay involved in causes you care about, encourage others to grow and don't gatekeep what you learned and your knowledge. Focus on teamwork and collaboration, and also show up for yourself and others. I think that's super important because you being curious leads to others people's curiosity as well, and that's an important thing to remember. Okay. Something you may still experience as your leader is imposter syndrome. I know personally, I deal with that a lot. I have definitely felt imposter syndrome when leading each of my student organizations, the committees, serving as the president of on, or when others would ask me for guidance. And to be honest, I still wrestle with imposter syndrome at my own job and even from giving this presentation because I had no idea really what to talk about. I didn't really think I was that qualified to talk, but here we are. So, something to always think about is that leadership is not always about having answers, it's about showing up and remaining true to yourself. So, some ways to do that is to one, be proud of your accomplishments. I think it's important to remember you were chosen for a reason and that you're in your place where you are for that reason, if that makes sense. The second is to keep a confidence file. So I actually have a email folder on my computer that has every single compliment, email, anything that people have said good job to, I've thrown into this file. And I know there are days where I actually feel like I'm not doing anything or like I'm failing something. And it's always good to go back to that and see how well you've done. I personally work in social media. And so sometimes if I'm getting really frustrated over something, I'll go back and see, oh, this one time I did this and I got this many million views or that many views. And so I think that's really important to think about having. Another is to focus on purpose over perfection. So just make sure that you're focusing on what your goal is and the reasons you're there for something and not making something perfect. I know I struggle with that. I was like, how do I make this presentation perfect? But I realized the bigger thing was to focus on sort of talking about the now what's and what you can really learn and grow through your leadership positions. And my fourth one would be asking for feedback. Feedback can really help you learn where you are at the moment and how you're perceived and how others think of you and how good of a job you're doing. And I think that's really important when you're a leader. So just ask for feedback. It'll help. It'll help you grow, it'll help you be curious and all that. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen Ted Lasso, but I love the movie or the show. Sorry, the show. But he says, for me, success is not about the wins and losses. It's about helping the young fellas be the best versions of themselves on and off the field. I think that fits in really well. And so I have a couple questions for you guys. You don't have to answer this, but just something to take away from and think about during your times this upcoming year within Mortarboard is what kind of leader do you want to be remembered as? And what is one thing you want to work on as a leader this upcoming academic year? Yeah, food for thought. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions. I'd love to continue chatting, and I've included my LinkedIn as well. And then, do you guys have any questions? Well, if there's nothing else, really appreciate you guys coming out to listen to my presentation. I hope you gained a little bit out of it. And yeah.